everyone. This is Nasir Qureshi, a Realtor Daddy from Houston, Texas. I'm with Texas Signature Realty. Today is wonderful and a very special episode of Wisdom Wednesday talk show with a very special guest all the way from England today with us, Miss Nasreen. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And I've just realised my English accent is going to be a little bit more prominent today, I think.
We love the British accent. It's beautiful, and all other different accents. And tell us a little bit about yourself, that who you are, what do you do, and where are you joining us from?
Right, okay, my name is Nasreen Karim. I'm a solicitor. I have been a solicitor for about 25 years. That's an attorney for you guys. I set up my own law firm 20 years ago. We celebrated our 20th anniversary just last month. I deal with lots of different kind of matters, family, property, commercial litigation, civil litigation, so a whole mixed bag. And then I have other solicitors and partners who also have their niche areas of law that they specialize in. My background, I'm Pakistani, I'm Muslim. From a fairly young age, we were told to save, 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 and invest, invest, invest. So when I was 23, I bought my first property, and I've been buying properties since. And I love law, I love properties, I love being in business, and I absolutely love being an entrepreneur, which is why I like to try new things all the time.
Wonderful. And I know we have been friends on social media for many, many years. And I visited your website. What is the name of your law firm? Platinum Partnership?
Partnership solicitors. So we're Platinum Partnership solicitors. I'm speaking to you from Yorkshire in the UK, which is about 200 miles away north of London.
Wow, fantastic. So that's we do have this a lot in common. Legal background. I'm as a senior litigation paralegal. I love the law. I love real estate and different opportunities, being open-minded, creative. And I noticed on your website you practice real estate law, commercial, intellectual properties as well, some family law and business law, things like that, right?
Hmm.
So um, you wrote a book, which is out yesterday, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I randomly wrote a book. I knew I wanted to write it, but I didn't tell anybody. And I just produced a draft about 3, 4 weeks ago, to the shock and amusement of my friends and family. It's not something that I had dreams of becoming, but it just felt like the right time to be writing about a particular subject, bearing in mind that at that time I was a carer for my mum, who had been bedbound for 2.5 years whilst running my practice, whilst running my other businesses. And I think all those experiences combined, and being a woman as well, no offense to guys out there, but being a woman, you generally tend to be the carer. So it just started a snowball effect of what I was thinking and feeling, and what I was using to help me, what I was doing to help my mom. And then I would have people coming along and telling me, especially from an Islamic point of view, that you should be listening to this surah or that surah. And I didn't know that once somebody passes away, you don't play surah or recite surah Yasin, you recite surah Mulk that I'd never heard of. So it's just lots of different experiences and my own life experiences really that led me down this path. It wasn't a burning ambition of mine, but I'm so glad I've done it.
Could you tell us the name of your book again? And if you have a copy, can you just briefly show us on the screen? Sometimes the cameras can be tricky on Zoom, but
It
I'll
is
let you know if we're able to see it. Yeah, we are able to see it.
it is called Whispers of Grace,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a book of Islamic du'as for Muslim women.
Mhm.
And I made a special effort to make sure that I was handpicking and compiling du'as for women. I know there are lots of du'as and they are for everybody, but as a woman, I wanted to have a book of du'as or a place of du'as that would deal with female issues also, for example, marriage, childbirth, looking after family, looking after children, those kind of things that were really relevant to me. And as I say, when you're a carer and you know you're looking after young children, or you're looking after your parents, or you're looking after your families, you're looking after your in-laws, and with that comes an extra sense of responsibility, sometimes a burden because it's really hard work. You're exhausted, you're frustrated. So where do you turn when you're feeling like that? And what I
Yeah.
found over the last few months was that if I read particular du'as, or if I needed to calm down, we have an Alexa at home, and I would listen to Surah Daha, and it was just absolutely beautiful playing in the background, just to help me put things into perspective, help me calm down, help me deal with all the situations that I had to deal with at the time. And that's why I really wanted something for women, especially.
Beautiful, very beautiful. So, and where, if anyone wants to buy your book, where can they find it?
So, as you say, it was published yesterday on Amazon. So I have an ebook, a paper book, or paperback, and a hardback, all of them on Amazon. If you put in Whispers of Grace, or even put in my name, Nasreen Karim, you should be able to find it. I am also working on the audio version of the book as well, which will hopefully be ready maybe in the next 6 or 8 weeks. But the ebook for Kindle, the paperback and the hardback are on sale at the moment from Amazon.
Take us back to the thought, the original thought about writing a book. If you remember that, if you recollect that moment, take us back to that moment, that what made you think and say, okay, I've been a solicitor for so long. Is this going to be a different thing? Not just any nonfiction book, let alone a religious book. So take us back to that thought, please, a moment.
It was December 2023, and it was the first time I had been to Makkah, the first time I'd been to Saudi Arabia, and I performed my first Umrah. And being in that environment 24 hours a day, the feeling of calm and tranquility and patience that you feel when you're over there is just undescribable and very difficult to imagine unless you're there. I was a single mom from the age of 23 upwards. I was rushing around. I was on benefits at the time. I had a little boy to look after. I didn't have an income. I was rushing around. I went to university. I got a training contract. I graduated as a solicitor. So from a very, very young age, it's been rush, 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 doing things to improve my life, my son's life, trying to better myself, trying to improve myself. So the last 25 years or so has just been a race at 200 miles an hour. And as you do, you get busy with work. Everyone does. You get busy with work, your commitments, and trying to balance home life and work life. And then I was trying to balance home life, work life, looking after my son. And then recently, when my mum became ill, I was her principal carer, even though I did have carers to help. And going to Umrah in December 23 just put the brakes on everything. And being there and feeling that spirituality, because I never really experienced that spirituality before, or even slowing down and stopping. If I went on holiday, I would take my laptop with me. If I was sat next to the pool, I would be working. If I was in the hotel restaurant, I'd be working. I'd have my phone out. My laptop would accompany me everywhere I went for the last 20 or so years. Running your own law firm, you have to be on top of things all the time. That there is no time when you switch off. And I made a conscious decision not to take my laptop this time, and it's the best thing I ever did. I can't describe the feeling of calm. If you've done Umrah or if you've done Hajj, you will know that feeling. You cannot get that anywhere else. It doesn't make a difference how many holidays you go on, where you go. There is no place on earth like Mecca or even Medina. And that's where it all started from. And then the other debate that we women always have is, should you wear a hijab, should you wear a headscarf or not? And I had this internal debate when I came back from Umrah, do I wear a headscarf or not? I chose not to. After my mother passed away in February 2024, I decided to go do Umrah again. I felt it was a place that I needed to be because I was just so restless. And again, do I wear a headscarf or not? And then also with my book, when you pick up an Islamic book, it's written by some Malana, some Mufti somewhere, some Sheikh, and it's very religious and it's come from very, very good sources. And I also made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to wear a headscarf because it was my personal choice. So if you look at my image on my book,
I can see
it's
it.
actually me without a headscarf, and that was another debate. Do I not? Do I put a picture of myself with a headscarf? That's not really me. If I put a picture of me without a headscarf, does that mean I'm not proper Muslim? And then I thought there are so many women out there who look like me, who will think like me. And I don't think it's absolutely crucial, and that should help I don't get shot down for this. It's everyone's personal choice whether to wear a headscarf or not. And you should not be defined by how you look by wearing a headscarf or not. So I made a conscious decision to have a picture of myself without a headscarf to appeal to all the women who, who may not be either practicing 5 times a day or wear modest clothing in the sense that they don't wear niqab or hijab. I wanted to appeal to all those women as well. So there are lots of decisions that led me to how I should write my book, what it should look like, what it should feel like, what image I wanted to represent of myself. So all of these factors were taken into consideration.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing all this. And I want to take a moment, and I think we're in a very, very important point or junction at the discussion where overall in a Muslim community, historically speaking, current and historically speaking, there's somewhat kind of a division when it comes to secular world and religious world. As a child growing up, they have like, okay, either you do a lot of Islamic studies and then people tend to go to that. And then the other ones that who do the secular or regular follow a particular occupation, then there becomes a gap, right? And both of these groups, category of people around the world has a big gap in between. So I believe that you are very important, and this interview in my eyes is very important because one, you are a Muslim female with a Pakistani background, British citizen, and a solicitor, and not just any solicitor, that solicitor for 25 years. So you have some really, really serious credibility to have the message out for laying this background. I want to ask this question to you, that how important it is for a human being, any human being, to be connected with God. Do they have to wait a certain age to reach, or in a latter year of their lives? How important it is and when they should do it. So this is a very profound question and very profound answer. Message should go out around the world. Please share that. The human beings need it.
You do know that that's not something I can answer, but I will say that whilst I was growing up in a very, very traditional Pakistani household, I wasn't allowed to cut my hair. I had to have a scarf over my head. And I don't know where this thought came from, but from looking at people around me, my parents were first generation immigrants into the UK. So there was a very, very small community back in the 60s and 70s. And I thought as a child growing up, and I was soon proven wrong, that you had to be old to start practicing and looking like your religion. And then it was in my 20s that I realized, and like I said, this is just absolute ignorance on my part. And from immigrant Pakistani parents coming to the UK and me being surrounded in a non-Pakistani and non-Muslim community. I can remember my early years and my early thoughts were, well, when you were old, you read namaz and you connected with God and you wore a scarf and everybody wore the Islamic dress. And then, like I said, teens and 20s, I realized that no, this is something that is with you all the time. And when should you connect? That is a very, very personal question, and it will differ from person to person. Some people may feel that they're not ready to. And I remember when I was asked if I wanted to go perform Umrah, I thought, well, I'm not ready. What does ready mean? Nobody's ever ready. But I thought, okay, I want to do this. And then it did change my life to some point because it gave me some perspective and also the importance of prioritizing my religion. So even though I'm a solicitor and I run a busy practice and I'm meeting clients during the day, it was important to sleep out for 10 minutes to pray namaz. But it's a very, very personal. And going back to what you said earlier on about how you're either secular or you're Islamic, I was a solicitor, I'm Muslim, I'm in England. But for about 3 years of my life, I was a hijab-wearing solicitor in a suit that went to court. So I was able to kind of navigate both, and both were important. And nobody looked at me differently or treated me differently. It was quite acceptable. So I did do that, but then I stopped wearing the hijab many years ago. But it's a very, very, very personal question. There is no right time. I would say to anybody, if you want to perform Umrah or Hajj and you think you're not ready, you are actually ready. You just think you're not. And then once you're in that environment, that's when it blossoms. Then it's up to you to make sure that you maintain that afterwards. But that time, only you can decide how you feel. It can't be imposed on anybody because it has to come from within.
Absolutely. Very, very nice. So how long did it took you to write a book? There's a common question everyone wants to know, and I get that question as well. Would you please?
Around 7 months.
Okay.
So I had the idea when I came back from Umrah in December 23 and starting to put pieces together, how I wanted it to look, what I wanted it to contain. I didn't want it to be a textbook. I didn't want it to be preaching anybody. I wanted it to look inviting. I wanted it to look simple. I've added empty pages at the end of each chapter so you can journal your entries if you want to reflect on anything, if you want to write down your feelings. And I thought that was really important as well to capture how people feel when they read these du'as and what they're reading. So it's kind of a mishmash, but it was what I wanted. And like I said, I didn't want it to look like a very strict Islamic book like sometimes you get. So my book, I mean, even the cover itself.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You wouldn't necessarily think that it's an Islamic book. And then at the end, and then the introduction is very, very personal to me. It sets out why I wanted to do it, my background. I lost my younger sister at the age of 36, how that made me feel, my journey over the last few years, how people made me feel, how I felt, some of the comments that were made to me. So the introduction is very, very personal to me. And then if you go through it, and I wanted to make it look pretty, so I've got like little, you can't see.
It is. Yeah, we can see it.
Well,
Yes.
you can't see it very well, but even the pages have little patterns on them. But at the end of each chapter, there are pages for reflection. I want this book to be a little bit more interactive. I want people to feel comfortable writing down their thoughts, almost like a diary. Write down your thoughts, your feelings. You can go back and revisit those pages. So it had to be user-friendly, friendly on the eye, something that you weren't going to be frightened by or find overwhelming. So I've got reflection pages that are just blank.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah.
So it's kind of all encompassing. So I was trying to extract from different areas what I would want in a book and what I would want it to say and how I would want it to look and how reflective I want it to be. And I think young women nowadays like to make notes, like to keep diaries, like to have journals. So just trying to incorporate all of that into the book, like I said, to make it user friendly and appealing to lots of people. Well, to women really.
What tips would you give to somebody who's starting the journey as a new author or want to become one?
Do not be frightened. I am not an author. I've written a book, but I'm not an author. I have compiled things that are of interest to me. Don't be frightened if you think that it doesn't look right or it doesn't sound right. It's you, it's a reflection of you, and how you sound and how you look is going to be different to somebody else. And that's what makes it unique. So don't be frightened. Put down whatever you want to put down the way you want it to put down. If you want somebody to look over it, there are lots of people out there who can help get the format correct. Or, for example, with the cover, I hired a graphic designer. I gave her an idea of what I wanted my cover to look like. She went away and she created that for me. So don't feel that there's pressure on you to be perfect. There is no pressure on you to be perfect. Just be creative and just be true and be real and be genuine. Don't be frightened of what everyone else thinks. I was frightened. I'm still frightened. It's the first time I've done anything like this. It's gone on for sale. It just went on for sale yesterday. I don't know how people are going to receive it. I don't know whether I'm going to have criticism, but you know, it's me and it's what I wanted to do. And I'm glad I've done it. Whether people buy it or not is something else. Whether people like it or not is something else. Whether people want to criticize it or not is something else, but it's something that I wanted to do. And I'm pleased that I've done it. So my advice to would-be authors is you do not have to have perfect English. You do not have to have perfect grammatical skills. Just get your thoughts down on paper and everything else will just flow.
Is there going to be a next book from Nasreen Karim?
You never know. Now that I've done one, there may be another one in the pipeline, but I'm going to concentrate on things that make me happy and things that I'm interested in. So my next book could be something completely different. But I think if you are going to be an author, it's about you. So just have your own style and your own thinking and your own way of writing, and just be creative in any way you want. There's no right or wrong. Just do what you want.
How do you maintain a balance between whatever you have going on? You're a solicitor, lawyer, family woman, writing books, sports, fitness, religion, community. This is the challenge that everybody faces as a human being, including myself. I want to hear Nasreen's stories and tips about keeping a healthy, balanced life between all those major areas of life.
So this goes back to when I was 23 and I found myself divorced with a baby and not having any money, and how what my marital life, what experiences I got from my marital life, from being a member of the community. And all I knew was that I did not want to be on benefits for the rest of my life. I did not want my family to provide for me. So at the age of 23 at the age of 25 with a 2-year-old, I went to university and I made it my absolute priority. And I do to this day still. It's been with me for 30 years, 31 years. I made it my absolute priority that I was going to focus on myself and improve myself and do what I can to help others. I have honestly no interest in gossip or what anyone else is doing or what's happening in anybody else's life, in their lives, sorry. And I keep busy. So at this moment in time, yes, I run my law firm. I have a property portfolio that I look after myself. I have a gift company that I established a few years ago. I'm a director of Western North Yorkshire Chamber of Commerce. I'm the founder and chair of the BAME Business Committee because I think it's really important to be able to share your experiences with other people. 20 years ago, when I set up my law firm, I did it all by myself. There was nobody else around to help. There weren't very many Asian people doing that, let alone women doing that. So it's very, very lonely. Now, when I look around, there are lots more people who look like me, who are in the world of business. So the BAME Business Committee was to help others. So I spend practically all of my time doing all these things because I think you should not be left idle. If you're left idle, you're going to get into trouble. And that's not what we want. So just fill your time up with things that you enjoy. So all the things that I do are all passions of mine. I wanted to set up a gift company in 2008. I did that, started to design and import baskets. I didn't know anything about importing, but I learned, and it was a challenge, and I did it, and it was very successful. Buying and selling properties, refurbishing properties. What do I know? You just learn on the job, you keep busy. So my advice would be to keep bettering yourself. Do not be interested in what anybody else has to do. And, you soon find time to do all those things. And, they all start into my life. And, 1 minute I'm a board member of the chamber doing something there. And the next minute I'm drafting a commercial contract. Next minute I'm looking at my book to see how I can promote it because I'm learning all about Amazon. I've never done this before, so I'm learning. I'm challenging myself all the time. So just honestly, just invest in yourself. Your time should be for investing in yourself and your family and not anybody else. Don't waste your time on anybody else. That's what I live by.
Any tips or that you found very helpful in when a person is feeling very, very down in life? Obviously, one of the tip is obviously, as obvious answers, is that they should read your book. That's a tool to help. But you sound like a very experienced person. What are the tips when someone is really feeling down? What tips would you to lift that spirit up?
Yeah, I've been there many, many times. When my sister passed away quite suddenly in 2009, she was 36, and she had 4 very young children, aged 2, 5, 9, and 11. It was the worst time of my life. Something unimaginable had happened. And yes, it was depressing. It absolutely destroyed my mother. And I kept myself busy and focused. And I think, and it's not always a good thing, because I don't think I ever really dealt with my grief because I kept myself busy. But I put all my time into her children. And one of the things that I knew that was really important was to make sure that they had good memories. So we would go out, we would do things, we'd experience new things. So, and I suppose it comes down to what you can do for others, because when you see other people happy and you've created that, or you've done something to help that makes you happy as well. But there have been other times in my life when I have been very sad, very depressed, over the last 30 years. And sometimes your mind slips, and it slips, and you're going downwards and downwards, and it's really hard to bring yourself back. And, I had this just a year ago when I was just feeling utterly depressed, and I decided to go on a holiday by myself. And I went to Prague, spent 4 nights there, made friends with some American people. Very friendly guys, you guys are. So I made friends with an American Filipino family, and I spent time with them. We chatted, we went sightseeing together. I came back totally refreshed. So going and having a break and taking yourself out of that environment helped me. Having faith helps, because when you're upset or depressed, you will think that you've been hard done by, and why has this happened, and why me, and why this? And especially dealing with my mum's death, having that faith really helped. And sometimes it's best not to challenge if something's happened. It's God's will. I didn't feel like that in 2009 because my younger sister died. I only have one sister. She died, and I couldn't come to terms with that. So my way of processing that was different. So lots of different things. Do things that make you happy. Try to get out of the environment that you're in. Read something that's going to uplift you. Like I said, I would listen to Surah Taha. I would watch it on YouTube. I would understand the meaning behind it. You read other du'as, and Ayatul Kursi I read every single day because I want protection, and I know that I'm protected and I'm loved by Allah. And you have all these different means and tools that you have. You just don't know you have, but you use them all at different times. But the most important thing is take yourself out of the situation that's making you unhappy or depressed, and you have to change your mindset, and you have to force yourself to do something you may not want to do, but do something that will take you out of that environment. Go for a walk by the river, go see a beautiful sight. Some people like shopping, I don't, but that will give some temporary happiness as well. But you have to take yourself out of that environment, and it's up to you to make sure that you're pulling yourself out. If you need to speak to somebody, talking to somebody is so important. Please do not keep it locked up, because that just festers inside and destroys you inside. Have a good circle of friends. Have people you can talk to. If you don't want to talk to people talk to somebody you don't know. Help get some counseling or therapy. There are so many different things that you can do. And I've been there, I've tried all these things myself, and they do work. There will be times when you will be sad in the future, but do something about it. Don't accept it, and don't let it consume you. That's what I would say.
Any chances of Nasreen getting involved in some kind of women's advocacy platform or efforts? I mean, this is a women advocacy as well in a way, but have you ever thought about that, doing something in the future?
Over the last 20 years, what I've said to a lot of women who've come to me and said, "Oh, well, you've done it, but I can't do it." And I said, "You absolutely
Correct.
can do it. If I've done it, I'm no cleverer. My education, my background hasn't been any different to yours. If you can't do it, it's because you don't want to do it." So over the last 20 years, especially when I decided to go to university, which was against society, in 1994, Asian women did not go to university. Pakistani women did not go to university. But I took my son with me and I went. And I did have lots of other women, girls coming to speak to me, feeling very inspired by that. And you were doing it, but we can't. And I said, "Of course you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. Of course you can write a book. Of course you can have a business. Of course you can do this." And I think it's our own doubts and our own lack of self-belief, especially for women, that hinder us. And also I remember when I first qualified as a solicitor, I'd go to court, I'd go to conferences, and I for many years I thought I did not have the right to be there because I was a fake solicitor. Those people were clever. They had real degrees. Mine was a real degree, but you just sometimes don't feel worthy, and more women than men feel that, and that's imposter syndrome. And I had that for many, many years, thinking that I should not be sat alongside somebody who I thought was my superior, but they weren't really. And as you go through time and through life experiences, you realize that, oh, hang on a minute, I'm just as good as you, or if not better. You might look different to me. You might be male, you might be white, you might be older. It could be anything, but you are just the same, if not better. And over a period of time, I told myself, I have been very, very, very self-confident and very happy with myself for the last 15 years or so. I don't answer to anybody. I earn my own keep. I look after my family. And that's given me confidence in myself to do whatever I want. So the message that I always, always tell women is believe in yourself and you can do it. And I'm no different to any of you. My background, my education is no different to what anybody else has had. I just had a drive and a passion. I had ambition. I still don't feel I've achieved. I still feel ambitious. I still don't feel quite fulfilled. I want to do other things. So that's what I would say to women. And I have been saying that for 20 years, but maybe in future there will be a platform exclusively for women that I could get involved in. But my message has always been that, which is one of the reasons why my book is for women.
Where that drive and ambition comes from?
Being a single mom on benefits and not having anyone to speak to, and society looking down on you because you're a divorcee, and you're at the bottom of the pile. And I thought, no, I'm not having that. I'm not having that. That's where it came from. And also for my son, I didn't want him to grow up thinking his mum was a nobody. So I had to better myself. So lots of different things.
An American legendary boxer, Muhammad Ali. Everyone knows about him. Great person. Once he said, and that really made a big difference in my life in 1997 when I saw this statement, profound difference. and I want to get your reaction on that. So Muhammad Ali, American legendary boxer, said this: "Don't tell me it is impossible. Don't tell me it is impossible." End of the quote. What is your reaction to that?
Oh my God, absolutely that's how I've lived for the last 20 years. And I think I'm quite stubborn. If somebody tells me not to do something, of course I'm going to do it. And if somebody wants to try to put me in a box and tell me what my limitations are, of course I'm going to have to break out of that box and show them that I have no limitations. You know, I can break any ceilings. And like I said, every single one of us has it. It's not unique to a particular person, but oh God, absolutely. Do not let anyone tell you that you can't do something. Don't allow anyone to put you in a box, and you are as good as your imagination. The passion and the drive is what makes it all real. And as long as you persevere, there isn't anything that you can't do. And I've lived by that. I feel that. And that's what I advocate all the time to everybody around me.
Other than your book, what is your all-time favorite book?
Oh gosh, now you're asking. This is going to be very boring, but I read a business book. Well, actually, I've read quite a couple of business books. Oh gosh, what was the? I mean, The World is Flat was a little bit of an eye-opener for me. I really enjoyed that. I have read novels and I've read other fictional books, but for me, this is so sad. I like books that inspire me, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the book. It's by Napoleon Hill.
Oh,
And
Napoleon.
I have to keep putting it down because each time I read it, I want to get up and do something. I have to contain myself. And I cannot for the life of me remember that book, but it's about how to become rich, how to be rich, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's not about making money. It's about how to be rich in your life. And I absolutely love that book. And like I said, it excites me so much. I have to put it back down and to calm myself down because it really inspires me. And I think books like that are so important. The book is over 100 years old, but it's so
Hmm.
relevant today. So I think that would, for me, that would be my
Are you referring to The Richest Man in Babylon?
no,
Okay.
no, it's
Because
called How to
we
Become Rich.
we will look it up, but Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
So it's so you're saying that it's okay to do some personal development, self-improvement, refer to the books.
Yes, because um, they're very motivational. And
Hmm.
they will give you examples of stories of people who came to nothing and where others didn't believe in them, but they believed in themselves and they achieved astronomical levels. And it's always, always, always comes back down to the person within and your belief.
Do you think the entrepreneur life of entrepreneur is, some people call it a lonely life? Uh, is it true?
It can be because I'd rather set up a new business and do something challenging than maybe socialize at times or go to parties or anything else or sit and watch movies. I want my brain to be kept active. So I guess so, but that's what makes us happy to continuously keep doing something new and challenging ourselves. Yes, I guess. But it's good.
What
Keeps
do
you
you
out of
say?
trouble.
What do you say to the famous saying, "Age is nothing but a number"?
Do you know how old I am?
No, I
Do you
don't.
want to take a guess? Here you go, putting you on the spot now. Age is just a number. In
Mhm.
5 years' time, I will be 60.
You look great.
Do I feel 60 or do I feel 55? No. Do I mentally feel 55? No. Do I feel as though I've got a lot to achieve and a lot more to do? Absolutely, yes. Am I going to retire when I'm 60, 65? Well, kind of semi-retire, yes, maybe switch and do something different. But absolutely, it's just a number. I don't feel like my number.
Favorite food?
Everything. Everything. I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like wasabi, but favorite food, I love all kinds of food. I'm an absolute foodie. I want to go everywhere where there's different kinds of food. I want to experiment with food. I love food. I think we should live for food.
Does Nasreen cooks food?
A little bit. I do like cooking and I can cook, but it's not something that I do very often, unfortunately. I like to eat
Okay.
it when I cook.
You've been in the US before?
First time in November 2023, I went to stay with a friend in Florida, and then I flew over to New York for 3 nights by myself. Loved the city. Felt completely safe, felt vibrant, felt alive. New York is amazing. And then back to Florida. I love the lifestyle there. I love the weather there. And then back to England. So that's my first time ever in America. And I do want to come back. I want to try and sample all the different states and what they have to offer.
We'd like to have you, maybe sometime arrange or we'll thought about put some different authors together and maybe we can do that and invite you. So what is your one advice generally to the human race, regardless of what religious background or whatnot? What is one Nasreen Karim's advice to the human race, to human beings?
It's really, 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 really simple. Just be kind. Just please be kind. And sometimes, especially with what's happening all around the world, you've got Russia and Ukraine, Palestine, Israel, issues in Kashmir, Pakistan, India, all around the world. And I'll sometimes, when I feel really frustrated because I watch social media and I watch what's happening, I'm looking at images of people, of children that really sadden me. And honestly, sometimes I just pray to God, please put some love in all of us for each other. That's all it is. Just please be kind to one another. Simple as that.
Fantastic, great, and it has been a really great pleasure for your time, and congratulations on your book, and we hope that you have many more books to come, and we're going to end this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.